Out the box, let's take a look at the new Wychwood RS2 Fly reel. The one in front of me is rated for a 3 to 4 fly line. Let's take a closer look. Hi guys, thanks very much for joining me for a little look at the Wychwood RS2 Fly reel. Straight off the bat, I'd like to say that I am sponsored by Wychwood and I have not purchased this reel that I have in front of me today. But they've kindly sent it to me to use this season, and hopefully by the end of the season I'll be able to give you a more in-depth review of what I think of the reel. I'm straight down the line, I'm perfectly honest. Wychwood aren't paying me to give them a good review. I'm just simply going to tell you what I think of the reel. So, you don't only see the Wychwood reel here, you see a couple of my reels I use for the reservoir. I've got various other reels here. My Hanak one that I have my French leader on, which I use for Euro nymphing. I've got an Orvis one here. This is rated for a 3. It's for light line work on the rivers. And as you see, there's the Browning one. All manner of reels here. I've got this one. It's just a cheapie that I bought off of eBay because on it's a DI3. Again, it was meant for the river and I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on an expensive reel. So I've got this off of eBay. It's quite a nice looking reel, but quite cheap. So I'm just going to clear these from the table and we'll have a look what's in the pouch. So it comes in a neat little pouch. It's got the Wychwood logo on top there, and it's fastened simply by a couple of bits of Velcro. And if I just take the reel out for one moment, inside is a nice padded pouch, which is ideal. I have quite a number of river reels, as you've just seen, and what I do with them is they all go into one little bag and they're pretty much tossed in with not much thought to their safety, which is reflects on how much I've paid for my river reels in the past. Other than my Orvis and my Hanak reels, I haven't really, and the Orvis was a gift. The Hanak reel I won at one of the Grayling Festival events. I don't spend money on reels. So let's have a little look at the Wychwood RS2. Now, it's a pretty looking thing. It can't be denied. It's in line with a lot of the higher end reels you'll see from the likes of Sage, Loop, Orvis, Hardy. Similar sort of style to it, if you like. The only thing missing, of course, is the high-end logo. Wychwood, they're probably known more for their budget brand stuff, but that is not to say that they're not producing excellent quality gear. I'm being perfectly honest when I say I just don't use crap. I'll look for quality in my kit, but obviously at a budget that suits my pocket. So there we go. It looks great. What can I tell you about it? The first thing you'll want to know as a punter, what's the bottom line? How much is it going to cost to put one of these little reels onto the end of my fly rod? Well, the recommended retail price from Wychwood is £189, but I've had a quick look on the internet and I have seen it for as low as £170. So it does pay to shop around. Wychwood don't sell direct, they do send out to shops and then they set the price that they think they're going to sell the reel for. So that's the first thing. It's a lot of money. I think it's a lot of money. My wife would certainly think it's a lot of money, and I would love to be a tackle tart, but my wife just won't allow that. So yeah, it's a considerable amount of money for such a small item, and you might want to think, well, maybe that money would be better spent on a rod or maybe on some flies. It's up to you what you spend your money on. I'm not here to tell you to go out and buy a really expensive reel. But what I would say is the older I get, the more I feel it's just nice to own quality, good-looking kit, and that's why when I got my budget from Wychwood this year, I decided to opt for this reel as part of the package. I'm going to couple this with a Wychwood RS2 Fly rod, and it's rated for a 4 and the reel's a 3/4. And the idea is, what I have is I've got lots of different reels as you've seen and rods, but what I haven't got in my armoury is something that will punch into the wind on a small still water to fish dry flies, or again on the river. Most of my river stuff is geared for light line, so I have 2 and 3 weights. I needed something just a little bit heavier, and I noticed this when I was up on the Tees last year fishing. I was trying to cast, if any of you have fished the Tees up in Durham, it's a fairly windy old valley, and trying to put a 2 or a 3 weight line into a wind, it's no easy task. So that's why I've got this particular reel. The reel was designed in England, and it was made in Korea, as a little sticker denotes here. I've looked at lots of reels. You know, I'm like a kid in a sweet shop when I go into a tackle shop, so I'll look at lots of reels, and they're nice and shiny, and got huge price tags on some of them that I just can't believe. But I think most of the big brands now have their reels manufactured in Korea or China, and they do a great job. I mean, you're not going to get a bad reel from any of these big manufacturers. They check the quality, and obviously I've handled the Hardys and the Sage reels, Orvis, and this feels absolutely no different. And I would say it's for a fraction of the price, but that's not correct. It's probably in that price bracket where you would be looking to buy a reel, maybe slightly cheaper, but certainly manufactured quality, and I've had a good play with it. It seems to be as good as anything I've played with before. So my acid test with reels is to try and move the cage on the body, and that doesn't move at all. There's no movement in it. So here it is. It's a lovely looking piece of kit. The colour is anthracite. Now, if you know what anthracite is, then you're a better man or woman than I am. I had to look it up on the internet because I wasn't quite sure what it is, and basically it's a black metallic gloss, but the colour seems black but simultaneously falls into the shades of grey. To me it looks black, but I can see it's like a light black, if there's such a thing. Very pleasing. What I like about the colour actually is, and I'm using lights here to do the video, and you'll see there is a little bit of shine off it, but there is nowhere as much shine as I've seen on some reels. And line flash, rod flash, and flash of any type off the reel can spook fish in the rivers. So I think that's a good thing. It's a kind of dull colour, and the rod I'm going to pair it with is a matte finished, so this will suit it very well. So the reel does come apart. Obviously you can get spare spools, and it simply unscrews with this locking nut here, and it comes away. So it's a solid spare spool. Just put that to the side, and what you see here is the drag. So this has a multiple carbon washer drag, and the blurb tells me that it has a drag force of 4 kilograms. Now, I've never caught a double-figured fish in this country, so I wouldn't know what that's like. And I've never been bone fishing. They tell me there's nothing quite like it, but maybe down the line my wife will let me find out about that. But it's clean. You know, when you take this to pieces, it's easy to see. It's a quick wipe with a cloth, and that's it serviced. It's ready to go. Sealed drag system. You simply pop your spool on, wind up your nut, and you're good to go. Now, the control of the drag is here at the back, and as you can see, it's a simple wind to the left for no drag, and you can push it up with plus. And I've had it both ways. I mean, it is really stiff to move once you crank that drag up, and I think that could be a dangerous thing if you've forgotten to set your drag before you're fishing for your target species. You could soon find yourself snapped off with the amount of resistance that this is offering. I would always probably, for the most part, have it wound right down to this. I don't know how well you can hear it, but it's quite a subtle click pod drag. Some people really like to hear their reel rattling out, and there's telephone ringtones that you can get that'll do that for you. But if you like your reel to sing, this might not be for you. It's very quiet, very subtle, but it seems to be beautifully engineered. So, my initial thoughts, I really like it. The other sort of high-end reels I have, the Orvis and the Hanak, it is certainly comparable with them, if not even better. I think it's maybe the nicest reel I've ever owned, and I'm really looking forward to fishing with it throughout the season. When the season comes to an end, I've had a few days on the river with this and a few on the still waters, hopefully fishing dry flies if the rain ever abates. But I'll let you know what I think of it after I've used it for some time. I hope it's been of some use to you. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please think about clicking the button, and I'll see you all next time.